Elden Ring. There's no doubt you've heard of it. Fan or not, it's both critically acclaimed and hated by a very vocal few. This game has done something strange. A game so fucking good that other video game developers have talked some mad shit on it publicly. Elden Ring feels like a fever dream, and it's been making me feel like an insane person. But first, I'm going to be showing gameplay in this video and talking about my favorite locations. So, if you don't want late game locations spoiled, this video won't be for you. But with all intros out of the way, let's get to it. Elden Ring was first announced at E3 2019. You are probably already aware of that if you've been a fan of FromSoft. When I first heard and saw some of the promo material though, I was concerned. I had the impression it was going to be like Shadows Die Twice, a From game I wasn't very fond of, but holy fuck, I was wrong, and I couldn't be happier, because as of this recording, Elden Ring is my new favorite game of all time. So if you've seen any of my videos, I'm going to break this up into a couple of categories. The first will be my overall experience, second will be the world and creatures, third will be the lore and my thoughts on the lore, and finally will be my thoughts on what's to come. My first initial playthrough was chaotic and lovely. I got to experience a world both familiar and alien. I am an Elden Ring simp. The game made me feel something strange, something I don't feel often, anemoia or nostalgia for a time and place I've never experienced. A word that doesn't exist created in the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, a book that in my opinion perfectly encapsulates what I see in Elden Ring. After all, I've played Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, I've played Bloodborne. I have already experienced this game before, and yet I haven't. Everything from the combat to even patches, we've seen it before. In the first 3/4 of my playthrough, the world was bright, sunny, and almost welcoming, a stark contrast to the characters and the predicament they find themselves in this world. You may feel emotions throughout your time, as I did, from the innocent and artless demeanor of the spirit tuner to the angry, upset man on the mountaintop screaming, begging even, for the chaos to consume the world, to helping Ronnie bring in the Age of Stars. You will feel something, as I did. My time in the lands between has been amazing, a truly ethereal experience.
Hello. The rotten witch is dead.
I won't cry though. I'm a warrior jar.
May chaos
A warrior.
take the world!
Kill again. And defile each corpse with care.
The very first thing you may notice is how big the overworld may seem. However, you won't know just how big it is until many hours later. With no true direction of where to go, you must simply pick a direction and just go. The very first person you will see once you are out into the wild will most likely be this guy.
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
This white mask of ours will give you some simple context as to who we are, maidenless. And after the slight ribbing, of course, you are free to explore. This extreme and vivid world has much for you to see after all. The storms, snow, lightning, lakes, lava-filled towns long abandoned, to the desolate underground eternal city of Nokron. This place seems almost too impossibly big for one person to change. But in due time you will see the fruit of your labor. But before your inevitable and unalterable decisions, you will have to traverse this world. And in this strange place there are strange creatures. Gladiators, disembodied hands, dragons, and more. Some of my favorites are the strange, the weird snakehead snails, and Blythe, the wolf warrior. But I can't talk about characters without a mention to everybody's favorite, Alexander, the warrior jar. A character who may seem a little familiar to returning Souls veterans. Kinda reminds me of Sigmire of Katarina, the Onion Knight. There are lots of things living in the lands between, friendly and hostile. Some of the encounters off the beaten path are some of my favorites. Like when you take Aurelia, the jellyfish summoned to her sister, so they can go see the stars.
Where did you go? You promised me when we turn 14, we go to see the stars. I've been waiting. to never so long. Forever and ever it seems. Sister, where dear sister, you're finally here. No time to waste. Let's see the stars.
Something that sounds so odd but made me feel happy to reunite them together. Or the Apostate Derelict quest, where you have to take Latenna the Albanorak to the land of Miquella's Haligtree, unable to get there on her own, because it seems her wolf, Lobo, is injured, dead, or just unable to take her. One thing I thought was kind of humorous, the fact that her wolf is named Wolf, just in another language. A small detail that made this character feel a little more real, as it's something I can see someone actually do as some sort of endearing joke.
You will witness true horror.
The Outer Gods. These eldritch beings exist outside the lands between, omnipotent and unknowable. Also known as the Greater Will, these beings created the Elden Ring, order to the world. Everything must return to as it was to the Erd Tree. Some players believe the Erd Tree itself is a parasite, because before the Erd Tree was the Great Tree in the primordial crucible. One of the few things that still exist after the Erd Tree takeover, the Two Fingers, an envoy of the Greater Will. And all this leads to Marika, the Eternal, chosen by the Fingers as a physical manifestation of power. However, Marika didn't exist as just a god to rule over those below her. It is because of her that death ceased to exist. She gave the Rune of Death to Malekith, her loyal shadow. Fast forward a couple lifetimes, and an event known as the Shattering began. All started when Ranni stole a fragment of the Rune of Death to kill a demigod. After the creation and shattering comes us, the Tarnished journey, to slay the remaining gods and kill the Erd Tree. In my opinion, I believe the Tarnished are a contingency measure, a failsafe if you will. Our job is to kill everything and bring order back to the lands between. Throughout the story, we hear people and things calling us tarnished in an insulting manner and one to be revered as well. Called maidenless and unable to become the Elden Lord, whether it's true or not. And I did leave some things out, and because there is some stuff that I just don't know. The story is so fractured and odd, and I love it. Now, I understand that some people might not like how hidden the story is, but I think it serves this strange and alien world very well. The Lands Between is a weird place, full of lords, demigods, incomprehensible beings, deceit, and hatred, and I'm here for it.
Good heavens. Clench your teeth or something.
So, here we are, almost at the end. So, as of this recording, there have been no mentions of DLC or what we may get if we get anything at all. But I do have some ideas on what I'd love to see. So, my initial thought was maybe some Moon DLC, which I know what you may be thinking, that sounds dumb as hell. But hear me out. There is some evidence pointing to this idea. Ranni the Empyrean is stating to have had a rune, but it isn't present in the game yet. And she also has some ties to the moon itself. She aims to bring in the Age of Stars after all. Most damning of all, it almost appears as if there are some runic markings on the moon itself. Now this may just be me looking for things that aren't there, but a lot of people are talking about it if you look into Ranni and the moon in the game, right? But who knows? I would also love to see some HP Lovecrafty stuff, like some Deep Ones shit. I really think it'd be fitting given some of the strange and incomprehensible deities in the lore itself. I think it'd be a great fit. But I'm gonna stop rambling. With all that being said, here we are at the end. And feel free to let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for watching.